What is up, my friends? It's Gone Gwenting here, and I want to walk you through the new patch notes. And I still need to finish setting up all my Stream Deck stuff. I know it's been forever since I made my new PC, but you haven't even seen all the stuff that I recorded for my other channel, so you know it's clearly taking me a while. That's what happens when you have a real life, I guess. I just want to preface this by saying this is the first time I've been excited for a long time about patch notes. There have been some fun patch notes, things that have pleasantly surprised me these past few seasons, and I think while I was judging it first, I really like what they've done to basically say, you know, there are going to be 3 leading factions this meta with changes, and then other decks, other archetypes might challenge those and become contenders in the meta, but those are the 3 factions that we're going to work on. The one critique I will say, because I'm always full of critiques, you guys have watched me for a long time, is that this really brought to mind my arguments with Specie and Mole Legion on Twitter about why there wasn't a good patch in January. And for me, had they just broken this up instead of doing 3 factions each season, they could have just done 2 and they would have had a good patch in January. So and basically what I'm saying here is that I just think that CDPR needs to pace itself a little better with set higher goals and to better explain to the community what their plans and goals are. There was a 72-minute video, or rather it was a series of videos for the Gwent Open finals, right before the final game. Congrats to the winners on that, by the way, of each of those games. It was incredibly fun to watch. The finals was really good. I was secretly pulling for Poisonhound just because I wanted to have a different face. But you know, Magpie is great. So anyway, happy about it. Really good time. It's great to feel some life in the veins of Gwent. And I did record a video. I'm not gonna post it because I just ran out of time before the new. Like, you guys would have 1 day to use the deck, and it got 3 losses out of the 3 games I played, so it wasn't worth the time. But you can go to Twitch and watch it. I had a lot of unfiltered thoughts there that you guys can go watch. Link in the description. I'm hopefully going to be back every Saturday morning streaming for at least an hour. Kind of just building up my tolerance with my foot, doing what I can. So hang around for that. But something I addressed in that was that the game is dying, and I think people are taking that in a whole lot of ways. I didn't mean it. I purely mean from a numbers perspective. The number of players that are playing today is less than the number of players that played a month ago. It's less the number of players that played 2 months ago. And if I can feel that as a player without even having them show me statistics, it's pretty bad. I don't want that to be the case. I do think, however, and we're going to talk about this as we go through patch notes today, that Golden Necker is Gwent's chance at revival, in that it can bring in a lot of new blood to the game, and that it is something that was desperately needed in the Gwent game space. The PvP aspect of Gwent is really, really good, but there needs to be a PvE element to a game with staying power these days. If you want an online competitive game to be played by a very large player base, it needs a PvE element. I just think, you know, Destiny is a really good example. Destiny 2 is a really good example of that. Granted, it's something that I've played and put a lot of time into. But I think that's a good example, and Sony thinks so too. That's why they spent multi-billion dollars on the company. But without further ado, let's jump into the Year of the Cursed Toad. 21 brand new cards, balance changes, and special offers in-game store. Lots of stuff going on here. So 21 new cards, 2 for each faction, along with 9 neutrals. I think this is really pretty balanced, really good. I wish that they would have explained this on part of their yearly calendar. It is now only April, and this basically means that we're getting this card drop plus what should be 2 expansions this year, and maybe even another card drop like this. I think that is amazing. It is exceptionally free-to-play friendly. This is just really good. I don't think anybody can say anything different unless they dislike the cards, which you could very well do. But I think these play more to like memory and engine than they do to removal, except for maybe Scoyotels. But even then, nature doesn't have that many removals. It does not have any good tall removals or resets. The max reach is just 5 damage off of Nature's Rebuke, and regrowth is pretty meh with 3 points of removal. So, but I'm putting the cart in front of the horse there. New book page. We're bringing back 9 old seasonal trees, Elves, Viper, Magic, and 2 new ones, which will rotate out at the end of the June season. This is really good. Additionally, old season trees will no longer have quest nodes. Also awesome. They were just a pain in the butt. I think it loaded in one of my videos this season. I was stuck on a node last year that I still had to complete this year and barely did it at the end of last season. Some of them are just a pain, especially because they rotate the seasons now. So like some of them that are like win 35 rounds of Season of the Bear was really easy, or Season of the Draconid was really easy because the games went so quickly. And in Season of the Bear, the rounds went so quickly that it was a very doable thing. That has not been the case, and so I'm glad that they're changing it, so that it's just a little bit more accessible and that it makes a little bit more sense. All players unlock these nodes without completing a quest, so they'll find them completed, and rewards added to their accounts. So I probably have a couple of those, to be honest. New info screen. The screen will replace and I'm guessing that they'll do whatever ones are up for that season, so you can work on them that way. Though there are no quests, so it doesn't matter. But you can have a relic of a bygone era. New info screen. The screen will replace the welcome screen as well as screens related to various events and activities and provide the most important and interesting information about the release all in one. I also hope that they include important things that are not included in tooltips. That's one of the more productive conversations I've had as a Gwent partner with the team, including Mole Legion, where Mole Legion had a great idea to just include some information on Gwent play that is not very accessible and that makes it hard to play the game for new people. The learning curve of this game is probably steeper than any other game I've ever played except for Total War. Total War has an incredibly steep learning curve. It is exceptionally fun once you learn how to do it, and figuring out the new things is really cool. But like, I was learning stuff 2,000 hours into Total War Warhammer. I was like, oh, I didn't know. Like, here's a stupid one. I didn't know you could overcast spells. Gwent is very similar. So if you guys have played Total War, you know what I'm talking about. But Gwent is very, very, very similar in that way. There are just some things, like Keltullus will destroy herself. But other cards, I'm trying to remember which one it is, but there are other ones that won't destroy themselves when their card text says, like, destroy another unit. Destroy the highest powered unit. Exactly. Something like that. Villain Trentonmirth specifically excludes himself on his, but in his flavor text, but others don't. So, there's just some stuff that would be a little bit easier. And right now I'm not thinking of anything. Oh, the one that really drove me nuts is Elvin Sear. That's the one that started this conversation, because it says whenever you target this card with a bronze special, replay that, or create and spawn a new bronze special of that same card. To which I said, well, if I'm using Tourney Joust on it defensively, so if it's on my side of the board, it will copy it. But if I'm using Tourney Joust on it offensively, it won't copy it. To which CDPR said, well, you here means the player that played the card. And I said, in what universe is that defined? That is not written anywhere. Mo Legion was frustrated and didn't want to have to add more tooltip text to it, but in my opinion, it needs to be added or it needs to be clarified. And so at least having some information on the information screen to explain that to players is a necessary element of making this game more player friendly. And if they want Golden Necker to succeed with a wide player base, they need to be doing more stuff like that. So I'm getting like really wrapped up in that, but I do think it is way more important than it's getting treatment here for. And if it is not included in this overhaul, we need to push for it as players. Persistent starter decks, this is fine. They're just going to stay in there. I just wish that they would create like a folder. Honestly, folders would be awesome. I'm going to actually ask them for that. Just for each of the factions. I want to be able to like click Scoyotel and then have like a branch out for all my Scoyotel decks. Because otherwise it's just like, it's so unwieldy, it's hard to find what you were using. Changes. Change this season transition flow. For more information regarding MMR, you'll need to click the more info as the screen pops up. Fine, nobody cares. Except for pros, and good luck to them. Neutral. Oh god, provision change from 10 to 9, still trash card. Verification from 6 to 5. Might get some play this season. With so many more artifacts coming out, but we'll have to see. Siri provision changed from 10 to 9. This is amazing. I think it's awesome that we get to play the series all together now. Although Dash might still be 10. I'll have to check on that one. But Siri from 10 to 9 is pretty awesome. Now you can play Siri and Siri Nova together with the Golden Necker card. We'll get to that in a minute. Iris Shade, she's the one who strips armor from 9 to 7. That is pretty cool. I think we'll get to see some more of that coming out of Skellige, although not with this overhaul and these new cards. Lady of the Lake is pretty awesome, changed from 7 to 3. Provision cost changed from 7 to 8. And it doesn't say anything about whether or not she still has a shield or not. I'm going to guess no. But now she has a deploy, play an echo card from your deck. So you basically have Lady of the Lake and Avalok as your play from deck neutrals, as well as obviously like the special cards that do it, Oneromancy and Royal Decree, but these ones are units, and I do like that she is 3. The provisions of 8 is pretty good. Yeah, that was Fisher King made it pretty far into the tournament, and so I think that this is a good upset for Fisher King. I think it also gives a little bit better parity for Blight Makers, and just being able to top deck spells like Oneromancy with the Blightmaker. I'm glad that now there's neutral access to it. I do really wish that there was a better, intra-faction synergy that allowed for better deck finding. But we are where we are. Morale gets buffed 10 to 9. Vesemir Mentor from 10 to 9. I think they're just building out that 9 provision archetype for Necker. Watchman ability change to shield. Give an allied unit a shield. This is better than the given neighboring unit a shield, which was always kind of stupid. Now it can be to any unit. Obviously an allied unit. Kiki Queen, provision changed from 10 to 9. She hasn't been played in a hot minute. Koshie's been the one getting all the love. Maybe that'll change things. We'll have to see. I like that they brought the 1 turn for 4 turns. I just was not using the replay of the card because it's really honestly not that great. Unless you are just trying to double play the Wild Hunt Warrior for 6 points of total removal and reach with the Frost Spawn. His is pretty good because you're spawning Frost and you're dealing damage. But sometimes I just wanted 4 turns of Frost on a row, especially like when the Winter Queen was out. Ice Switch. Ritual Sacrifice provision changed from 10 to 8. It's kind of an underutilized card. Maybe let's see some use. Same with Ruin here. Hjalmar going from 10 to 9. I don't know. We'll see. Stunning Blow damage to targets with armor changed from 6 to 7. So it's got buffed back to where it was before. So it still does 5 damage, but eats through 2 points of armor. I think that Stunning Blow is going to make a comeback this season. We'll show you why. Northern Realms, Vernon Roach power changed from 10 to 9. Queen Meave. Provision cost change from 10 to 9. And just for clarification, Vernon Roach is the spying version. He's a 3-point spy. Play the 2/2 cards from your deck. This is not the blue stripes. This is not merciless. So before people start getting their knickers in a twist because, pun intended, because of blue stripes, that's not what this card is. I think this is mostly to play with the new artifact for the deck. Queen Meave, kind of the same story. The one thing we'll have to find out about Queen Meave is if she gets boosted in deck, if she gets added armor. I don't believe she does. I need to go back and triple check that. Heir 2 is a student, and Heir 2 Banard students now have to stay on their row for their patience to get activated. You can't just use Shawnee to summon them. That's exactly the issue that they addressed in the developer video. This is a patch that comes 3 seasons too late. Like, they haven't been good for they haven't been used, I should say, for a hot minute. So, a little bit weird. The one person that brought them over stockpile did not do super well in the tournament. Scoyotel Barclay L's ability change to deploy. Give each allied dwarf 1 armor. This is a nice change for Barclay instead of the boost by the number of units in a row. If they already had armor, boost them by 1 instead. This is pretty dope. I really like that. Cranmer was the one who boosted, I think, all units on the row by 1 if played to ranged. If played to melee, boosted neighboring units by 2. So he's always as 7 provisions for 8. So, yeah, so now he's buffed to 7 provisions and power changed from 4 to 7. Boost adjacent units by an amount equal to their armor is way better with a much higher ceiling. It's actually playable now. Figgis was a huge change from 5 to 7. He no longer spawns that extra rowdy dwarf, which is fine. Actually ran into row problems with Figgis in the past, so this is a little bit better in my opinion. Plus, it made him super susceptible to Vigo's muzzle, which they addressed in the developer patch as well. He was the only defender that didn't play for 7 points. Obviously, Fifion is is a little bit weird in that Fifion plays for 1, but then you boost him to 7 using the spawn tactic. But the spawn tactic is useful for Helga. It's useful for putting on a different unit if you don't want it on Fifion. And it also gives him 4 armor, so it sets him really equal to Cave Troll, who has no other abilities. So I think that this sets him pretty well. And then the move self to other row is pretty dope. Yeah, Moonrow Bruce getting 3 charges is awesome. I'm looking forward to playing that in Arena more than anything else. Dwarves are very good in Arena. Because you can get double Brewers, and it is a riot. So if you haven't done that, I strongly suggest spending your excessive amounts of, or if you have every card in the game, just filtering through arenas until you get a Dwarf one. It is quite enjoyable. Zoltan Chevade, power provision change from 10 to 9. Zoltan, regular Zoltan's the one you play down. He boosts neighboring units by 2 and then has resilience with 4 points and 4 points of armor. Zoltan Warrior change from 6 to 4. Provision change from 10 to 13. Damage 2 enemy units by 3 for each enemy unit that survives. Spawn a rowdy dwarf on this row. Barricade at the end of your turn. Damage a random enemy unit by 1. He does not remove the barricade on himself, so Zoltan is like a Berserker that can just keep doing it. So I think this is a pretty cool change. And you can still spawn those 2 rowdy dwarfs, and you can spawn them to whatever row you want. Finally, now you can play the other Zoltan to ranged rows, spawn doo-doo, boost all units on the row, and that was always something you couldn't do because you always had to play it to melee in order to get the dwarf proc. So, Zoltan's Company ability changes: spawn 2 rowdy dwarves on an allied row, then give each dwarf on that row 1 armor. Increase the number of spawned rowdy dwarves by 1 for each Zoltan in your starting deck. So you can get up to 5 here. There are 3 Zoltans. And I have to go back to double check, but I don't believe any of the dwarves have a devotion trigger. Like Freixenet. I'll have to check that later, but I don't think they do. So I think that including the doo-doo spawn Zoltan makes a lot of sense now that you can play them to ranged. But we'll have to try that out. Dryad Grovekeeper, always is stupid, continues to be stupid, but you do get the bonded trigger here. Fine. Dwarf Berserker, armor changed from 4 to 3, provision changed from 5 to 4. I think that this was good. You're still getting 4 armor off of this bad boy, and you can add it now with other cards. Dwarven Chariot is a really good way to just add that to Berserkers, by the way. Dwarven Chariot, power change from 4 to 3, ability change to, I didn't even know. I haven't read through all this. This is like as far as I scanned through, and I was like, no, I'm not going to keep reading because I want to be surprised. They didn't cover everything. I want to just give my open, honest thoughts. So just on my knee-jerk reaction, that's what I always do. I don't do like super deep dives like Shin Miri does. If you want to do that, go watch Shin Miri. He has more time, energy, and puts a lot more effort into it. So 3 cheers for him. Deploy melee, boost self by 4 and gain 2 armor. Deploy range, spawn 2 rowdy dwarves on your melee row. Order, give an allied unit 1 armor, cooldown 1. So it's still getting this order ability, but you're basically able to boost self and give itself more armor, or spawn 2 rowdy dwarves on your melee row into a different row than the one it's on, which is nice because it's not soaking up room. And I think it gives it kind of a cool siege engine effect of like it's like docking at a wall and launching its units onto the wall. I think it's cool. Dwarven Skirmisher, ability change to deploy melee, damage an enemy unit by 3. If it survived, gain 1 armor. Order, barricade, damage an enemy unit by 3. Okay, now that I said that, I just to the Dwarven Chariot, I have a picture of like if you played it on melee, it launches Dwarven onto the opposite row, so enemy's row, and then they like dual units on that row that they spawned next to, like one on the far left and one on the far right, and they duel those units and then they die. That would be freaking awesome. Anyway, Dwarven Skirmisher, ability change to deploy melee, damage an enemy unit by 3. If it survives, gain 1 armor. Order, barricade, damage an enemy unit by 3. Fine, they just increased it to 3. But the order with barricade is interesting too. So now you get a lot more damage off this guy. And you get the armor. Fascinating. So low value units, so you can get really easily removed, but it just adds a lot more reach for dwarves. They just really struggled with any removal value. So I like this a lot. Marauder changed from 4 to 5. Ability change to deploy, gain vitality for a duration equal to an allied unit's armor. Barricade boosts self by that amount instead. So if he's already pre-boosted, he can gain this. So getting like a dwarf with a ton of armor is awesome. And I think that the Irish Shade change was for dwarves. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. But we'll have to see. Like typically it was used on Draco Turtle, but it might be cool here. So Dryad Grovekeeper basically becoming the new becoming the new Mahaka Marauder. Minor armor from the order ability changed from 2 to 4. And just to pause. I think that makes way more sense for the Dryads to have that vitality just within the intra-faction synergies. It makes a lot more sense for Dryads to have that. Minor armor from the order ability changed from 2 to 4. This is pretty awesome. Remember that only goes on to dwarves, but that's a big change. Rowdy Dwarf armor changed from 0 to 1. And these are all really pretty awesome. So Rowdy Dwarves are also spawning with 1 armor already. So Zoltan's company is just topping off armor that already existed now. Then give each dwarf on that row 1 armor. So that they already were armored. They're going to be spawning with armor. So Brewer you don't have to add it using a leader ability. Dwarves got good, friends. Big changes here. Nilfgaard, double cross, provision bonus changed from 16 to 15. A bunch of people are like, yes, finally. I'm just going to say, for the record, this is not the change that double cross needs. They got rid of all play 2 cards in a single round leader abilities except for double cross. WTF, man. That's all I'm going to say. It drives me freaking nuts. It's going to continue to be an abused archetype so long as that exists. It should not exist. It gives you way too much information. If anything, there should be one leader ability that is look at 3 random cards from your enemy's hand and spawn like some informants on your side. You know, like you should have no interaction with the cards that you're seeing. There could be a different card, not leader ability, card that is play a random card from your unit's hand that does not give you information. It does not give you choose between 3 cards, but instead just gives you one of the cards. That's how it should work in my opinion. And it drives me nuts that Nilfgaard continues to just get the lackadaisical treatment. And for fans of Nilfgaard, before you get mad at me, this cuts both ways. The longer that Nilfgaard continues to just get the pass on things like this means that the devs aren't spending time on Nilfgaard. It just means that they're overlooked. So you have at once a faction that's already hated being hated because it is using archetypal abilities that have been sunset for over a year now. Over a year since we've had new leader abilities as well. That also needs to change in my opinion. Where are the new leader abilities? Would have rather had those than new cards, but I don't want to whine too much here. They have an ability that no other faction has that was sunset a long time ago. And they also they still just don't have that much in the way of engines. The deck that was played for Nilfgaard at the tournament this season was a meme deck. You're welcome, Nilfgaard, for a meme deck that revolves around a couple of neutrals. Think about that. Change it, CDPR. I expect more from you. I do. I really do. Nilfgaard needs some serious love and some real this Dwarven rework is amazing. This shows some real thought and work. I expect that next season for Nilfgaard. I do. It's long overdue. They need not some little changes, not some minor tweaks to Vreemd and to Vergriff. Those aren't enough. Soldiers Nilfgaard decks are a laughing stock. Do better. Syndicate, pickpocket changed from 7 to 8. Stupid, but whatever. Honestly, this needs to be 9 for it to be a worthwhile thing. But I guess they envision if you're using it with line pockets, it goes to 9. So maybe that's what they're trying to just say. Look, if you want it to get out flying Redanian as a dry play in round 2 when you were on blue coin and won round 1, a very specific situation, then use line pockets. Bernon, but you probably have 1 coin carryover otherwise, so it's not a big deal. Can't use it with jackpot though. If it over profits, it won't do you any good anyway. Bare Knuckle Brawler has new ability fee 1, damage the highest power enemy unit by 1. This is pretty nice. I'm glad that they added something to him. He kind of sucked beforehand, so I'm glad that he has the spend ability. And note that it doesn't have to be boosted or anything. You can just damage it. So you can just get everything. Ooh. We're going to have to try this with yen. We are going to have to try this with yen. Oh my goodness. This could be so much fun with yen. Because you could just spend to get all of the units equal with Bare Knuckle Brawler and then just use yen to blitz them all. Oh my gosh. This is going to be the unsung hero of next patch. Just wait for this. Imagine also using this on dwarves. Just shredding armor. Dropping pickpocket with line pockets. Get some other coin engines going like Imki. Good night. Crown Splitter Thug. Damage from deploy ability changed from 2 to 3. Stupid card. They needed to give him an ability. He does have an Intimidate engine, but it's still stupid. Eventide Plunder, ability change to create a 4 provision cost unit with a fee. Cool. I mean, this one has been reworked so many times. It used to be like destroy an artifact, I think. I can't even remember all the iterations it's gone through. We'll see if this one sticks. Payroll Specialist. Provision cost changed from 5 to 4. No longer has Intimidate. Okay, so it just moves a unit. It has like a 1 coin, maybe 2 coin fee to move a unit to the other row. It can be used offensively or defensively. Yeah, it never worked as an Intimidate engine. Intimidate just makes more sense for Crown Splitters than it does for cut-ups for whatever reason. Which doesn't really make sense because Whoreson Senior is like the best Intimidate engine in the game. But whatever. I mean, other than Cleaver. That's weird. I don't know. They got to figure out Syndicate needs a much broader rework. They keep like slowly moving cards over into like their defined intra-faction archetypes where they will do different things. I think they want Crown Splitters to be Intimidate, cut-ups to be, I don't know. It's unclear to me what they want cut-ups to be. That they give them a little bit of everything. Witch Hunters be Bounty. That's, I think, fully fleshed out now. Yeah, I think Blind Eyes need like a real, maybe Tributes. I don't know. Tributes kind of makes the most sense for them. And then Salamandra are No Home. Firesworn is Spawns. Firesworn is the best. I love Firesworn so much. Game fixes. Fix the issue where journey contracts related to quest completion won't be completed for some players. All affected players should receive missing rewards. The passive abilities for off the book and hidden cache no longer become disabled when the leader abilities are reactivated by Damon Dilator or Anna Henrietta. Stockpile is no longer unusable when both heroes are full. Melusine no longer increases her base power from a unit that was destroyed previously. Self-on Deem. Unity will now correctly react to specials played from the opponent's side through Lydia von Bredevort. Siege Master will not correctly react to siege engines. Spawned and played through Queen Adalia or Zoria Runestone. I thought they were going to show the new cards here, but I guess we'll just have to cover those in a different video. Hope you guys appreciated this one. I'm excited. I genuinely am. I think the Dwarves one is pretty dope. It's one faction instead of all the factions with a bunch of new cards, so I think that works out really well. And I think the Giant Hunter will be a big deal for getting a third Resilience Dwarf card. Makes a lot of sense to like really sink in and double down on that. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Until next time, good luck out there. Have some fun. Keep on gwenting. Bye for now.